out how to factor ax squared plus bx plus c, okay? So remember that a, b, and c are just some random numbers. Okay, so we've been working with this x, and then once we work with the x, okay, at the top of the x, we're always going to multiply the first number and the last number, okay, after we have factored the GCF, okay? And in the bottom of the x, we always have the b, okay? So that hasn't changed from our magic x. The only thing that has changed for our magic x is that we're multiplying the first and the last number, so we can put it right here, okay? And then we look for those two numbers, the two numbers that multiply to the top but add up to the bottom, okay? Okay, we find those numbers, and then we gotta use the box. Okay, in the box, we always put the ax squared, whatever number this is, into the top left corner of the box. The last number is always the bottom right. Okay, and then the two numbers that we found right here, okay, is what goes in these two boxes. Okay, so now after you get your box, you have to factor the box, okay? So you factor the box, and you gotta figure out the signs, okay? Is it positive, is it negative? Okay, if all the numbers are positive in the box, then the two factors are gonna be positive. If these two numbers are negative, then the second number is gonna be negative, okay? If these are negative, then the top one is gonna be negative. I'll put in the place, okay? And if these two are negative, then the side factor is gonna be negative, okay? And the top factor is gonna be positive. Okay, so let me do an example so you guys can see what in the world I am talking about. Okay, step one, a must be positive to use the box method. Okay, so if it's not positive, then you cannot use the box method. You must do one step. Okay, so I can show you, I'm going to show you an example A right here. Okay, you must factor the GCF. Okay, so if you got to check all the numbers, okay, if they have a common factor, then you got to factor it. Okay, and then we got to use the box method, okay, to factor the intercept form, and it's got to look like this. Okay, so check your signs when you factor this out. Okay, so let's get this work done. Okay, so notice for the first one. Okay, notice the first one. Okay, a needs to be positive. Okay, so notice that we have a negative right here. Okay, this is a negative, so we cannot have the negative, so we must factor. Okay, however, before we even do that, let's check 2, 5, and 12. Okay, do those numbers have a greatest common factor? So the only common factors that these have is a 1. So technically a 1 is not a common factor because we don't care about the 1 as much. Okay, but we do have the negative, so we gotta factor that negative out. So we're gonna put negative, and then we put 2x squared. Okay, so we just factor out that negative from 2x squared. However, if we factor a negative from the first term, we gotta do it from the other one. Okay, so if it's positive, we gotta turn it to a negative 5x. Okay, and if we factor a negative from the positive 12, then it turns out to be negative 12. All right, so that's what we have so far. Okay, I factor out this negative from the first one, okay, because you cannot have a negative in front of the x squared if you want to factor this. Okay, so once you do that, you got to change the signs on all the other things that we have here. Okay, so now, okay, we do our magic x. Okay, remember what we said. Okay, we have to multiply the first and the last. Okay, so that's 2 times negative 12. So this is a negative 24. Okay, so now two numbers that multiply to negative 24 but add up to the middle and add to negative 5. Okay, okay, in the chat would be negative 8 and positive 3. Okay, these two numbers multiply to negative 24. And notice that, okay, a needed to be negative since the bottom number is negative. Okay, negative 3 plus negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. Okay, good job. All right, so now we follow the instructions from up here that we said. Okay, so remember ax squared goes at the very top of the box, c goes at the very bottom. Okay, so then ax squared in this case is our first term. Okay, this is ax squared, so we're going to put 2x squared. Okay, and then the last term is the negative 12. Okay, now we get the two numbers that we just found, the 8 and the 3. Doesn't matter where you put them, you could reverse them. Okay, however, this is a key thing you gotta remember to do. Okay, if you don't do this, you're gonna get this wrong. Okay, and you gotta add an x. Okay, you gotta add x's to these two numbers so we can factor the box out. Okay, So like we did yesterday or on Monday, now we factor the box. Okay, what do these two numbers have in common? Since these are positive, oh, I forgot something very important, the negative on the 8. Okay. All right, so 2 and 8, what do they have in common? 2x. Okay. What about the GCF between 3 and 3x and 12? Be positive 3. Okay. So notice, so now we do to the sides. Let's move to the sides. The GCF between 2x squared and 3x is going to be just a x. What about the GCF between negative 8x and negative 12? Okay, so that both of these are negative. Okay, and remember what I said at the top over here. Whenever you have double negative, then the factor that you gotta factor is going to be a negative one. Okay, so then here is going to be a negative. 8 and 12, okay, have a 4 in common, so it's going to be negative 4. And you're pretty much done. Okay, so the factors of this is 2x plus 3, parentheses x minus 4. All right, and if you forget to do something, remember what we said. There is a negative right here. So this negative needs to also come down here so you can have the final answer. And this is what